All right, 11:23. That was weird. We had a breaker go here at the office. The entire office just went black instantly. It was creepy. Zacticum said, "Oh, yeah, I'm afraid of the dark." So we got it fired back up. We are trying to blame Maddie for firing up his coffee grinder instead of using the regular coffee over here, but we'll see. Anyway, we're going to have Huss rejoin. The boys are just waiting to get in. Pat Gregoire is going to join us as well. We were just getting the update on Huss's worry level on Patrick Mahomes' ankle, and everything went dark. So we'll bring him back in, and that was. I'm not going to lie, I was a little scared for a second too. It was a little concerning. Let's bring Huss back in. Huss, what happened on your end? Did I just disappear? What was it? Like, what happened?
We just froze.
Okay.
And then I looked over at the YouTube stream and it was just the thing. I will admit, I'm a little more concerned about Mahomes' injury now. That everything went black and his speaker broke when I said I'm not worried.
I'm not worried. Dong.
I certainly think that although I will say this, I mean, with the state of the Chiefs line, and I love Andy Reid and I'll back Andy Reid any day of the week, but I thought he and his coaching staff put Mahomes in a pretty bad spot yesterday. I mean, they were comfortably up in the second half, and they just kept on throwing the football, and the Browns were getting pressure on him. He was getting hit on every play, and it was almost inevitable that something like that happened. I mean, they really didn't lean on Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco like I think we thought we would at that point, and I thought that was a little bit reckless for a guy that is the franchise of the Kansas City Chiefs. But hey, listen, they covered a spread. They finally covered a spread. First time in 8 weeks, they got it done. And most importantly, they are 13-1. And thanks to the Rams, no thanks to the Lions, they do have a cushion at the top of the AFC right now. So when you think that's a real tough game on Christmas, though, they would love to have that win against Houston in their pocket beforehand, and then would just need one more win in the final 2 weeks of the season to secure that number one seed. So we'll kind of see how this develops. But from everything that I've heard, it's sort of a minor sprain. I mean, I know they said, it's a high ankle sprain. He's questionable return. I mean,
everybody always gets so scared when they hear high ankle.
Hey, big time. And listen, when you think about what happened a couple of years back, in the Cincinnati game, the AFC Championship game, when he really did have a high ankle sprain and he didn't have that mobility, he still came up with one massive run with the game on the line when they needed it. And then, of course, the Bengals helped them out with the 15-yard penalty. Butker kicked it. They were off to the Super Bowl, and the rest is history. But nice to get the win. Nice to get to 13-1. Yes, a little concerning about Mahomes' ankle. Also concerned just about the offense. But good news, Hollywood Brown back to practice this week. So that's a big get because they're missing Rashee Rice. They've been missing him all year long, and hopefully that makes the offense look a little more dangerous than it has in recent weeks.
All right, let's bring in Pat Gregoire. He's kicking around. We might as well continue to recap yesterday with Pete Greggy. And actually, let's start with his thoughts on the Bills' win over the Lions. Patty, congratulations, man. You got the best of us.
We got the best of you, but that is a good football team that the Buffalo Bills beat. It's an injured defense, but I can tell you my heart rate, my blood pressure wouldn't really do well with the Bills, Lions, Super Bowl.
Can you imagine that?
But that would be so much fun. I think that's the matchup that all the fans that don't have anyone in the mix, I think that's what everyone should be cheering for. Of course, there's a lot of work to be done. Obviously, the Chiefs, I don't care. Patrick Mahomes could have no ankles, and I'm still not ruling this team out. They continue to have voodoo on their side. So obviously they're still a concern. In the NFC, the Eagles, I know I'm the biggest Eagles non-believer, but I think I have no choice but to believe in this team. The Vikings, we'll see tonight. They're a team. I think there are probably about 5 or 6 teams that legitimately can win the Super Bowl and get to the Super Bowl, and that's it. But it was a great Bills win. I would have loved to see the defense have a little more fight, but especially after giving up another 40 piece the week before. But it was a big game. It was, I don't want to call it a must win, but it was a good measuring stick game for them. And even though this score was close, and even though the defense did give up a ton of points, a lot of it was in that fourth quarter. Like, they had a couple of really big stops at key points in the game. So get a little healthy, ride out these last 3 games, keep everyone healthy, and get to the playoffs.
Yeah, the Bills have the easiest schedule. Don't they have the Pats twice and the Jets in their final 3 games?
Yeah, Pats.
You have to remember, Aaron Rodgers is hot right now, Huss.
I can absolutely say that I did not watch a single play of that game. Shout out to the boys down at the corner that made the very smart decision to not rank that game in the top 7 options of the early slate yesterday.
And the early slate was bad. That was one of the worst early slates I think we've seen in a long time. The afternoon was banger after banger, but the early slate was ugly.
Well, yeah, it was the nuts thing. I mean, we had 5 late games, and I mean, 2 real marquee games. I mean, the Bills, Lions, the Steelers, and the Eagles. And I mean, to me, that Buccaneers Chargers game was a huge game. I mean, 2 playoff teams. Baker looked unreal in that game. And Atlanta's going to have to win tonight. By the way, and I'm sure we'll get to this in a few of the other offerings when we get in. I was just over on Coolbet, and an unreal super boost tonight up in the combo cards. Vikings and Falcons to win from -127 to +106. I love the Vikings in this spot. And I mean, Max Crosby's now out. Aiden O'Connell's out. I mean, the only way that the Falcons don't win this game is if Kirk Cousins plays the way he has in the last 4 weeks and gets to play the entire game. So I don't know what the max bet is on that, but you can try it out.
$25.
You can jump on that, get it out, and then get in. One other thing I think we should just address right now. What the hell is going on with these morons dropping the football before they get in? I saw Maverick saying, can we talk about the Colts? Jonathan Taylor, who's arguably their best and most important player, basically blew up their season with one of the worst brain cramps that you will ever see.
What an idiot.
They were up 13-6. He's running in. They would have been up 14 points. Their defense was playing amazing at the time. And that singular play turned that entire game around. Denver took advantage of and went there. And I mean, when you think of the Chargers losing, they had the Broncos on the ropes. They win that game, and they are right there for a wild card spot. I believe the numbers were, if they won the game, they went to 53% to make the playoffs. If they lost, they went to 7%. And I mean, the crazy thing was that wasn't even the only time it happened yesterday. Some moron on the Bengals did it earlier. How does this still happen?
All you care about as a National Football League player is scoring touchdowns. And you get one. That's a sure thing. And you let the ball go before you officially cross the line. It never made, there's no urgency to drop the ball there outside of being a showing off a-hole. I mean, there's no other reason to do that. I don't get it. I'll never understand that at any level of football. It makes no sense to me.
It makes no sense. We've seen it for a while. I mean, it goes back. The first time I think I can remember is the Deshaun Jackson. The one thing, though, like outside of Deshaun Jackson, like who of note have we seen? It seems like it's always these, whether it's a DB with an interception, or earlier this year we saw a guy, I think it was like his first carry in the NFL. That was the last time we heard from that guy. The fact that it was JT, like that is the most notable player that I think we have ever seen this happen. And the way it happened, it completely flipped the game on its head. Like you said, it's remarkable. And I don't understand how it keeps happening. We've been talking about this for 20 years now. Just cross the plane, do your celebration whenever you want, because yeah, if you're trying to make yourself look cool, sure, that's awesome. You know what isn't cool? When you drop the football before you break the plane and cost your team the game. That's the least cool you can look. Unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure that screwed the partner parlay as well, if I'm not mistaken, because
yeah, I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure. Like Dusty and I were both on Tampa. We put that one out. I threw out the Packers, and I love Jake's pick of the Colts. I was fully there. Plus 4.5. It looked great.
Yeah, especially after hearing Seth's song.
Colts by a million, right?
Colts by a billion. And you know what? Taylor, he needs to go to Seth's front door and personally apologize for ruining that perfect line, that bar that he threw out.
The big question, does Seth still love him? Because that's one of the banger lines of the entire track, and I don't know how you could love what you saw yesterday.
You can't
the most inexcusable and stupidest gaffe in all of professional sports.
Yep.
And it happened not once but twice, but it really did sink. Like that is going to take so long to get over. I mean, no one will ever forget that, especially in and around Indy and the Colts. And listen, outside of that, Taylor's an absolute beast, hell of a player. Invested a lot of money in him. I can't believe it. On a positive note from that late slate, though, Baker absolutely slinging it. And I think the worries that I brought up on Friday about the Chargers with Justin Herbert being hurt, that was quite apparent. He is not at 100%. And the rest of that team, they got absolutely steamrolled by a Bucs team that after that 4-game losing streak, all tough losses against really good teams, are flexing their muscles and showing that they are clearly the best team in the NFC South. And I think a team that is going to be, they'll at least put up a really good matchup for a Minnesota or a Green Bay at the, come playoff time.
Baker Mayfield, I don't know, I'll throw a little trivia your way. You might have seen the tweet I talked about on the show this morning. He had his 100th career start yesterday. Only 4 quarterbacks who were drafted first overall in the history of the league have thrown more touchdown passes in their first 100 games than Baker Mayfield. Can you name them? Who are the 4 first overall quarterbacks that have thrown more touchdowns in their first 100 games than Baker Mayfield?
Manning.
Andrew Luck.
Okay, that's good.
Matt Stafford
for sure. Those 3 and 1 more.
Cam Newton?
Nope. This would be the tougher one. It's going to be tough to get. I don't think you'll get it. I can tell you if you want to give you one more guess.
Like how, is this a long time ago or still relatively recent?
Longer than at least 2 of the other guys on the list.
Oh, okay.
Longer, go further back.
Okay, I'll just tell us. We'll
Carson Palmer.
Oh, Carson Palmer.
Yeah, I don't think I would have got that.
Yeah,
one.
Carson Palmer would have been a tough one. But still, I mean, like Baker's, and considering some of the spots that he's been in, man, that's pretty impressive what that guy's put together through his first 100 starts.
Dude, it's so really much. And it's funny. I was doing this show in Cleveland on the weekend before the Chiefs Browns game. And I was talking to the guy off air beforehand, and I brought up the fact that I just saw, we were talking about how Cleveland let Baker go and did the stupidity of giving up what they did to get Deshaun Watson. I said, you know what? This kind of all started to get Baker out of Cleveland when he was getting shit talked on Twitter by Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad.
Yep. Oh, yeah, that was all time.
A tweet from OBJ's old man started the unraveling of a franchise that still continues to this point.
And it was like the franchise that have been unraveling since they returned to the NFL. My uncle, so I had a Christmas dinner yesterday, my uncle is a Browns fan, and we were having a discussion. Like, that Deshaun Watson trade is not just my cousin laid this out, not just the worst trade in NFL history, but probably the worst trade when you take into account the contract, what it's turned into, the PR, everything. It's the worst trade in sports history. And it's hard to argue that, especially when you look at what Baker Mayfield is doing right now. What Baker is doing right now with this Bucs team, and the fact that you said it, it's not just like there was contract disputes or a trade or whatever it was. It was like he got ran out of town.
And he loved Cleveland. Like, he was Cleveland. All in on Cleveland. That's the thing. He brought them to the playoffs. He beat the freaking Steelers in the playoffs. Like, how they sort of overlooked that and thought that, oh, there's still something better around the corner is I mean, it's so Cleveland.
It's so Cleveland, though. And that's what my uncle said. He goes, it's Cleveland. I've been a Cleveland fan since I'm 6 years old. Nothing ceases to surprise. He said, like, the Deshaun stuff almost put him over the edge to hand in the orange helmet and find a new football team. But as we all know, no matter how bad it is, we always find a way to go back to our teams. Although us, you haven't known in a while because all your teams do is win.
Well, listen, for a long time that was not the case. Trust me on that one. And listen, they're still somehow winning, but it doesn't look or feel the same as it maybe